Welcome to the BuyBox Experts podcast. We bring to light the unique opportunities brands face in today's e-commerce world.
Hey, and welcome to the BuyBox Experts podcast. This is Eric Stopper. Today's episode is brought to you by BuyBox Experts. BuyBox Experts takes ambitious brands and makes them unbeatable. We've got a team of consultants. I am one of them. Please reach out to us. I know you have questions. It can get hard to manage these many marketplaces that you are forced to sell on as an e-commerce seller. And so go to buyboxexperts.com, click on the free analysis button, and you'll be connected with me or a member of my team. It's a very strange time for everybody. I know that people are worried about tariffs and taxes, and the election is happening right now as we speak. The electoral vote's it's like 230 to 219 or something like that. The impact on your business, right? Like the economy will keep going. And I've always felt like, and I'll ask our guest about this today as well. I've always felt like a monkey just turning the wheel, just like keeping the economy on, like trying to just generate as many sales as possible. The best thing that you could ever do in uncertain times is just to keep on buying stuff. Just don't hold on to your nickels. Just buy something, give a gift, buy it on Amazon, buy it on the person's website, whatever you can do. I think that if everyone just comes together and just continues to operate and buy products, then the economy will keep on humming along, and we don't have too much to worry about. But I'll leave all my political opinions aside for now. Today, I'm so pleased to have Dean Dutro on our show. He is the co-founder of Worth eCommerce, a platinum-level Klaviyo partner that works to improve sales and profits for their clients using powerful email marketing. They focus on driving results and achieving ROI many times higher than what their service costs. They've worked with over 500 stores, and they've built 2 of their own that have reached the 7-figure mark. Dean, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Eric. I'm excited to join and have this conversation.
So I'm a seller. Everybody on the show knows that I sell a couple of products, and I'm a dirty cheater. Honestly, I try all the newest tricks that I can find out there. But email marketing has always evaded me in its. I don't have an email list. I've tried to capture emails using, or I've tried to capture text like cell phone numbers actually, with QR codes, and like I have this product insert that says text plugs to 22333 to get like I don't know. It's a free offer. I think it's pretty compelling, and I get their numbers, and then from there I'm lost. I've had MailChimp. I've used a couple of other services before. And so Dean, talk to me just about email marketing. Like, what do you guys do, first of all? And then what kind of services do you offer the clients that you work with?
Yeah, that's a great question. And thanks for bringing that up. You know, there are a lot of, like every 6 months, there seems to be some sort of new tool or new strategy or new way to cheat the system and get sales. And, you know, like perfect examples like the spin to wins that you saw on websites, or, you know, now text message marketing is building up. And, you know, really what's interesting is that email marketing is actually the oldest form of digital marketing. In fact, the first advertisement was like a 1-page email sent back like decades ago. And that was the first mass digital marketing effort. It was by some like auto repair shop or something. Mm-hmm. So it's been around for a long time, but I kind of like to think it's just now getting good. And, you know, what we do is we help e-commerce stores build their email list, create a strategy using the customer lifecycle within e-commerce. So starting from prospect to new customer to repeat customer to VIP customer to lapsed customer, lapsed prospect. And we say, hey, in each of these stages, how can we target them with specific emails and content, right? So that they become more likely to buy, but more likely to buy faster than they would through traditional, maybe not traditional, but through PPC ads, things like that. And we'll do everything from strategy, design, copywriting, implementation, email capture, essentially full service to create the system for you that starts to work pretty much on autopilot. And, you know, I think one of the things that I like to talk about in regards to email is that if you're focused just on PPC and you're focused just on the front end channels, right, you're limited in your profit in your sales based off how much you can spend, right? So the only way you can make more is if you spend more. What happens with email is if you go from a list of 1,000 to 10,000 to 50,000 to 100,000, the cost to send 10,000 versus 100,000 emails is maybe a $500 difference, right? But your earnings go up. Not just your earnings, your margin goes up because it costs dramatically less to send to your email list than it does to send out a Facebook ad or an Amazon ad or some sort of PPC ad. So what happens over time, oh, my Siri just came on. What happens over time is as you scale and as you scale your email list, your profits start to scale. You can take that profit, my Siri's going crazy. You can take that profit, reinvest it into your front end channels, and then all of a sudden you got this massive growth curve. And a lot of people don't realize that. So for example, we had a client years ago, I worked with him for years. He was a pet supply store, just selling pet products online. And when we met him, he was doing like $20,000 in sales. And this was maybe 5 or 6 years ago. So we thought it was pretty good. Shoot, he's doing 200 grand in sales. We started implementing this email system, and right away we started seeing results. You want to be at 30 to 40% of your total online sales coming from email in order to achieve this scalability. But what happened is you went from 20,000 to 100,000 a month to 300,000 a month to $500,000 a month in sales in just 4 years, with email driving the majority of those profits. Right. And we were able to grow with him, scale with him. He went from, he was a nurse working by himself to now he's got a team of like 15, 20 people. He's got a CEO. He does triathlons, and, he's really built this business, really what I think on the back of email. Of course, there's been SEO, there's been PPC, things like that. Another piece of that story is that while he was scaling, there was a point where he was about $150,000 a month. And a lot of his traffic was coming from Google. Google changed their algorithm, and his SEO and his traffic dropped just almost to zero. And we had this email list of about 75,000 people that held him afloat for 2 to 3 months until he could get his SEO back up and get some traffic coming from Facebook ads. So not only is it a profit lever, it's a bridge during those times when Amazon or Facebook or Google or whoever else changes their algorithms or changes their rules. The rules of email have been the same, for decades, and it's probably not going to change, much. And any business that's sold at some point usually has a massive email list because they know they can send one email and make, tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars, which is pretty wild.
Okay. Lot to unpack there.
Yeah.
I thank you, by the way, first of all. Now, you said that email is like, it's getting better than it's ever been before. So talk to me about like the buying preferences and the customer journey of this social media generation, right? The millennials and the centennials. Just, I don't look at my email very often. Maybe I'm a single iota of data that like is completely cast aside and I wouldn't be a good target. But are people buying more from email? Like, what has conversion rate changed? Has open rates changed? Like, tell me why you think it's getting better.
Yeah, you're hitting a few points that are good, and there's a wide variety of reasoning. The first one is data collection, right? So you're now able to see when someone opens an email, when someone clicks an email, where they're located, how many things they've purchased from you, how many times they're visiting your website, and all this data is collected, and you can use that to segment these people to make sure you're sending the right message to the right person at the right time, right? And that's key to email is, hey, if I know you're interested, there's a segment we call like window shoppers. These are people that come to your website, they've looked at 3 or 4 different products, but they keep looking at this one product. Well, we're going to make sure we have something in place so that if we find that they look at the same product 4 times over the course of a week, they're going to get an email about that product, right? They're going to get more information on it. It's not going to be a sale, but it could be information. It could be testimonials. Maybe it'll be a sale at some point, but we're targeting that person with exactly what they're looking for. and providing them value at the same time. And so that's one example, is data. The other is email design looks better, right? So if you go on your phone, it's much easier to read your emails than it was, 5 or 6 years ago on your iPhone or on your Galaxy or whatever. And so you can basically see the promotion, you can see the info right there and click it. And there's something else that's interesting that a lot of people were nervous about is in Gmail, you have this promotions tab. And I'm not sure, do you use Gmail?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I do.
Okay, so in Gmail and your personal and usually in your business, they have a promotions tab. And a lot of people thought that was going to ruin email. That if there's a setting you can create, so you can have like promotions, updates, social, kind of segments it for the user. But what happened is, because of that, people started to expect newsletters and expect these things and look for them. Whereas before, if it showed up in your inbox, you're like, Jesus, I'm tired of getting all these newsletters. Let me delete them and spam them all. It actually reduced spam rates dramatically across the board. So what that did is your sender reputation started to increase for many people in terms of sending out Gmail or sending out mass emails. So your deliverability started to go up. So your open rates started to go up. More people started to see your emails.
Simply because they segmented the emails into different sections. Like I have important and unread and starred, and then my general email inbox, and that's it. But I can add a promotion section that just like neatly organizes all my nice newsletters from all the people that I've signed up with. So I don't have to like worry about spam. I've got all my spam just like sitting in a nice little box that I can, it's there. I can control it. That's kind of the idea behind this. Like people, it's not in their way anymore. It wasn't as interruptive. Yeah.
And Google will do these like little nudges now that'll say like, hey, like this email says you only have 4 hours left to get this offer. And it'll be like top promotions. Right. And so if you can get there on Google, right, then your emails start performing really well. So it's getting better across the board. And I think it's getting better because of the data and because we can make more, it used to be spray and pray. You would send 100,000 emails or, an email to 100,000 people, have no idea who they were. Now you kind of know what they're up to and what they're looking for.
Yeah. So you guys as an agency, right? Like you, look to the data and seek to understand these customer journeys. And you've got these, I imagine almost like a Kanban style, like, oh, they're a prospect, then they go to a customer, then they go to a VIP customer. And inside each of those stages, you've got this variety of emails that you've developed that will help transition that person into making a sale. Have you just like absolutely like made it scientific? Is it just totally like, okay, if you're here, like these are the 3 types of emails. We're gonna multivariate test these 3 for each of them. The one that has the highest conversion rate or click-through rate, that's the one that we're gonna use for that. And then you just build that campaign out for somebody, and then it just rides for the rest of forever.
Yeah, pretty much. It's taken years to get to that point, but so if you think about it, every part of the customer life cycle across any business, really across any industry, the customer life cycle is really the same, right? And there's different jargon, different things. But since we're the back channel, it's usually people have been to a website, they've seen some ads. Now we're giving them more information, more urgency. We're using different conversion tactics. But if you think about it from a perspective of, hey, what types of content overall can you give? You can give informational based content. You can give social proof, right? You can give urgency. You can give sales if you want to. And then also you can get like unique messaging from the founder, right? Or unique messaging from the business, which is becoming more popular because a lot more people are wanting to shop from not just local, but like more independent sorts of brands. I've found, people like, there's a great company called Mugsy Jeans, which I buy all my jeans from them. They're awesome. They've got a great email system. I don't know if they sell on Amazon, but you get messages from the owner, I love that type of stuff. But we can say, okay, if you're in this part of the customer life cycle, we have kind of figured out it's going to take about 4 emails to get the most ROI, on autopilot. And each email is going to have its own goal, right? Like email 1, information, email 2, social proof, email 3, hey, we're running out of stock. Email 4, hey, we're having a flash sale, something like that, right? And it'll be different for each category. And that runs the same across most e-commerce stores, which is, if you're, because you're thinking about strategy, you're thinking about big picture philosophy versus like these little cheating tactics that a lot of people try to use. That'll be stable across time.
This is all existing inside of the email, but let's say that somebody clicks on a piece of the content that's offered and they end up somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have insight into what they do once they're there, or does the portion of like email transaction insight stop at the point that they like engaged and clicked on something, and then it's the job of the website to convert? Do you guys look at that? Do you look past the point of click inside of the email, or do you mostly just stick to like, okay, did we get them to click on the thing in the email?
No, I mean, we're looking at conversion too. But we're also looking depending on the goal of the email, right? So if the goal of this email is to educate people, we want them to go to the place where they can be educated, and then likely they will purchase, right? But that purchase period may be, a couple of days. Whereas if it's like a sale email, we're going to track that day who's purchased from that email, and we can attribute it directly to that, right? So it kind of depends on the goal. And then obviously, it's up to the website to collect the data and information. And the better the on-site conversions are, the better the email is going to perform naturally, right? So they all start to lift each other up. That's a big thing that I think has been hard in the digital space is where do you attribute revenue?
Right.
And especially, if you're using email or Facebook ads or Amazon or whatever method you're using, how do you attribute it? So we've kind of got to the point where it's like, hey, let's just look at overall lift. If you have more money in your bank account at the end of the month than you did last month, it's a win, right? If you have more profit, right? Like that's a huge win. So we're always, talking more about overall lift and margin, which you don't always see right away, of course, and it depends on the financials of people and things like that. But that's one thing we like to look at.
Sure. I wonder, like, if somebody was working with both of us, for instance, they're paying us money to lift their sales.
Yep.
Would you look at sales on their website? Would you look at sales on Amazon, overall sales, increases in POs on their brick and mortar? You know what I like? What is the thing that you can point to as an email marketer and say, I made the most impact in this channel?
Yeah, I would say on like what we call the owned marketing. So if you have a Shopify store, people are coming to your Shopify store, getting on your email list, we can send out emails and know they'll purchase, right? But let's say we only collect, 10% of visitors that come to your site. The other 90%, we don't know where they're going. They could be going to Amazon, they could be going to Walmart or wherever, you have your channels outside of your store. And so we're not counting any of that, right? We're only seeing what's being purchased on store and how our emails is impacting that. But unfortunately, I can't see like, oh, they clicked here, then they went to Amazon. I could say, oh, this section of people came from Amazon. We got their emails, but we noticed they're not purchasing here. Likely they're purchasing on Amazon, right? Something like that. So you may want to create a segment where you target people, say, hey, like we sell our products on Amazon if you prefer that. That's one kind of method of going about it.
Interesting. Yeah, in your emails that you send out, right? You have informational. I imagine that informational, you'd either want them to consume the content in the email, or you'd want them on the website, right? Where you've got lots of capabilities of adding video and like you can really dive in on the culture. But then when they're ready to buy, right? When you're trying to send an email that is meant to get them to transact, right? The final nudge. We found that conversion rates on Amazon are typically higher than a website. Do you guys ever send traffic directly to Amazon with that in mind, or do you typically prefer to send the person to the website?
We actually never done that. And I'm curious about it. I'm curious if there's a way to track it. I'm curious if there's a way to see that information to attribute it. Because obviously, as an agency, we're looking at, hey, what can we show that we've increased? If we don't have access to Amazon, for example, I think that would be a really good pilot to do, a really good case study to try and figure out, because everyone's trying to figure this out. Do I sell on Amazon? Do I sell on my own site? Do I sell on both? What marketing is going to be the best? What levers do I need to pull? That could be another indicator for people.
Yeah, I think that begs the question too. Like, let's say, because I mean, in 2020, 2021, right? Like, a single person could run a really powerful e-commerce business, and they've got their Facebook and Google company agency, they've got their Facebook agency, they've got their email agency, they've got their freight forwarder, right? They've got all these pieces, and they've basically assembled this team. And most of them are saying, look at this great work that we did for you. Like, wow, this, can we make a case study off of this great lift that we made for your business? And I would be curious to understand how we would delineate and say, okay, most of the attribution, most of like your highest ROI really comes from this channel. Do you have any insights into like how a business owner can come to that conclusion to determine which of their things is lifting their business the most?
There's a lot of different software out there that helps with that. Google Analytics is pretty accurate, but there's some more specific ones. I can't remember the names of them off the top of my head, but that's tough. I think that's one of the problems right now is figuring out attribution. And so that's, again, why I like to talk about overall lift.
Right.
What I do know is that a channel like email, as you grow it, your profitability increases, right? So even if we're not, like, let's say, directly impacting gross sales, perhaps, you will see the added benefit of more cash flow, because again, as you go from, let's say, for example, you're doing $100,000 a month in sales, 30,000 on your Shopify site, right? 30,000 of that should be coming from email if you're doing it right. And then if you go from 100,000 to 200,000, 60,000 of that should be coming from email at no additional cost.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that makes sense to me. Yeah. You were able to send the additional emails because you got the additional people, and it didn't cost you that much. It just scaled with the amount of sales that you scaled with. It feeds itself.
Yes, it feeds itself.
So talk to me like I'm a couple of different types of business owners. So let's first say I'm giant. I got a big company, multiple lines of products. I sell on my website. I sell on Amazon. I sell on Walmart. I got some eBay. I mess with, I did a couple promotions on wish.com. I thought I was going to get in a lawsuit over it. Maybe not going to mess with that. I got my whole business. I've got a bunch of people on my team. I get on a call with you and I say, I'm generating 15% of my website traffic from email. What are some of the things, like how do you talk to me in that scenario? What kind of questions would you ask me? How do you get to the bottom of how you can help me?
Yeah. So, I try and figure out how important is your website to your overall business structure, right? So if you're just on Amazon or just on eBay, does it make sense to invest in email at the price that we do it, right? Or do you need to start kind of slower and start with some basics? But ultimately, if you're at that level, people are probably searching for a website, right? People are going to search for more information. I don't know if you've ever been on Amazon, you've seen a company and you're like, oh, like I actually want to go Google this company to see, are they legit or not, right? That happens all the time now. Same if you're on like Huckberry is like a really popular e-commerce kind of marketplace. A lot of people don't realize those brands have their own websites. And then, you can get different products or better deals and things like that. So how important is their owned marketing? Then I would say, hey, has there ever been a case where you've been on Amazon and your account's been flagged or paused? What did that do to your business? Has there ever been a case where, Google's algorithm changed and your organic traffic dropped to almost nothing? Has there ever been a case where you've been on Facebook and your ads have stopped, right? Or have you heard stories like that? Often, almost everyone's gone through
yes,
something like that.
yes, and yes. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, right. So it's like, okay, Have you ever thought about or imagined what it'd be like if you had an email list that you've been collecting over 5 years of 100,000 people from all this money you're spending on traffic, right? And if those situations happened, how nice it would be to send out a single email and make all your revenue back that you just lost, right? Like, would that benefit you? Would that be important to you? Or what if we could generate $60,000 a month, in sales, and it only cost you $4,000, right? To send that many emails. Like, do you think that's worth the ROI? Well, if so, like, here's how we get there, right?
Yeah.
Here's the plan of action. Here's the time it's going to take based off the numbers. And we can basically predict, down to a T, as long as, especially if they're a large business, we're going to know their conversion rates, their visitor traffic. The only thing we have to worry about is building up sender reputation, which takes about 90 days at that level. But we can basically predict, hey, it's going to take us about 90 days to get this much revenue. About 6 months, you'll be here. In about 2 years, you'll be here. But it's not just about the revenue, it's also about the profit. So if you can increase, again, it feeds itself. So the more profit you make, the more you can invest in the front end channels, the more emails we collect, right? So at a year from now, if you've got double the amount of emails, it just keeps growing. It's absolutely nuts. And we've seen that happen over and over. There is kind of a break even. There's a point where it's very difficult to generate 30% of your email because of the different types of segmentation you have to do and the expertise it takes to keep your sender reputation up. But that's a completely different story that isn't relevant to most people.
So now let's take the example of somebody that's brand new.
Yeah.
Right. They've got this product that's going to change the world, and they want to sell it. And they heard that email marketing is great. Maybe they watched some YouTube videos or something, and they come to you or a member of your team, and they say, "Okay, Dean, where do I start? What do you tell that budding entrepreneur in regards to building an email empire and setting up their business for success in the long term from an email perspective?"
Yeah, keep it simple, right? Like, use a tool like Klaviyo. That's the one we recommend for all e-commerce stores, and all of our clients are on it. MailChimp doesn't integrate with Shopify anymore, so it's like, why use it? Klaviyo's got the data. It's relatively inexpensive. Use them. Get a really good pop-up software. We use Just Uno as our main one. They're an awesome team. Again, really inexpensive, especially for entry level. But you need to get a pop-up going. As much as people say they hate pop-ups, everyone expects them now, right? Everyone expects to see if they first visited a site to get 10% off or free shipping or a bundle or something, right? Like, talk to anybody and they'll say, yeah, I've seen a pop-up and I love getting like that first deal, right? So like, what are your margins? What can you afford? Can you do 10% off? Can you do free shipping? Do whatever your business model is, cash off, like offering like a $5 coupon is kind of cool. That converts pretty well. And make sure you have at least 4 emails to follow up with people who sign up to your email list, at least 4. And a lot of people are going to hate me for saying this. Don't give the coupon code on site. Force them to go to their email to collect it, right? What that'll do for you long-term will have dramatic effects on your email system. Your open rates will be significantly higher. They'll be like 60 to 70% versus 30 to 40%. And that open rate, that high open rate, will indicate to Google, to Gmail, to Outlook, to Yahoo, to whatever email service people use, that you're a solid sender, right? And you'll show up in the inbox more. So a lot of people don't know this. If you sign up for a brand and you stop opening their emails over time, Google will start to automatically send those to trash, right? And now they'll automatically ask you if you want to unsubscribe. Google will literally say, hey, you haven't opened these emails from these people. Would you like to unsubscribe? Right? Or they'll just send it to trash. It's not spam, right? But it's just saying, hey, like, these people aren't engaged. Why flood their inbox with your emails? But if you get that really high open rate on that first email, that trickles down and has a benefit to your entire system down the road.
It can still happen though. Like, if 50 emails down the road, they're not opening, like, you'll still end up in trash. But it's that first transaction. I guess we have something similar for Amazon too. There's something called the search buy method. And I'm skipping a step there. everyone's going to demonize me for this. I'm forgetting the third word, search, search, find, buy method, where you encourage the person to go search for a specific keyword, find your product in the list of keywords. Sometimes you got to go to like the 7th page or whatever, and then click on it and buy it, right? Because then it tells the system, hey, this keyword, like this listing should be higher up in the rank. So it's something very similar. It's gaming an algorithm, right? It's using the algorithm to your benefit. So at least 4 emails. You're saying like an intro informational type of email, a coupon email, kind of following the flow of what you said before.
So like you could do, like a coupon information, welcome to the tribe, welcome to whatever company, have some basic information in there, have some recommended products, best sellers, right? The second email could be like a message from the founder, like just a text-based email, like, hey, like, thank you so much for subscribing. We really appreciate it. We work really hard to make these products. If you have any questions, let us know. By the way, you haven't purchased yet, here's your coupon code, use it within 72 hours, et cetera. Email 4 could be, hey, check out our top sellers. Here's some reviews. Here's some reviews about our company. Here's some social proof. By the way, you haven't used your coupon, like use it. And then email 5 could be either another sales push, or it could be more information. Could be, hey, if you have any questions, email us. You kind of play around with it, but keep it simple. It doesn't, like, email doesn't have to look amazing anymore, right? Like, it's trending simple because people are so used to mobile that you don't need like this amazing superior design, from $100 an hour designer to have an impact on email. It can literally just be, a hero image, some text, and a call to action. That's all you really need to get started. And 4 emails, that's going to generate more sales. If you think about it, if someone comes to your site, clicks, there's a few people that are going to purchase right away. Most people are going to leave, and then some people are going to sign up for email and they're going to purchase. But there's still, like, of the people that sign up for your email list, get the code, and then purchase, there's still 80% that aren't going to purchase yet, but they will down the road. Mm-hmm. Right? So you're creating a long tail effect, which is super impactful.
So I had this question when we first met, and I've been itching to ask it. Typically people get paid, right, during some specific times, right? The 10th, the 21st, the 4th, right? Those are some of the critical pay dates. Do you find the process of getting somebody to buy a product easier when you aggregate or like try to place those emails at those payment dates? Have you guys ever experimented or anything like that? Like basically saying, hey, like, you probably have more money right now. Here's a promotion, right? Here's that thing that you were looking at before. Do you guys ever mess with anything like that?
Not exactly. That's a great idea. What we have done is, for instance, when the stimulus checks came, we sent out stimulus emails, and some clients, there's this guy, he sells auto parts. He made like 8 times his daily sales on stimulus day, right? Which was amazing. And we sent out like 2 emails or something. And then on tax day, usually, when people are getting their tax returns during that week, we'll send out kind of like tax return. It doesn't work for every brand, so it's kind of the ones that have some more flair or personality that you can do it with pretty successfully. Otherwise, it just seems kind of like cheesy or scammy. But there's always like brands that have that kind of edge,
sure,
that do well. But I like that idea of payday timing.
Oh, look out, everybody!
Yeah.
Your website has all kinds of testimonials and examples of people. I just wanted to ask you about 1 or 2 of them. Sure. Latin Low. There's a video, it's about 1.5 minutes of her talking about what you did for them. I'd kind of like to know the story behind that and about the founder and kind of the situation and where you were able to take them. Yeah.
So Latin Low was, an awesome company. Actually, there's one I want to talk about that I like more, Planner Perfect. I really like this story. Latin Low's story is also awesome. I don't know the full details of that one, so I want to give you one I know more about. So this company, Planner Perfect, they're from like the Midwest somewhere. I can't remember exactly, Ohio or Oklahoma or somewhere, and they live on a farm. And she's got several kids. She works from home, and her husband is a farmer and helps. And they came in to us. I can't give like specific numbers, but they've been working with us for over a year, and they started at maybe 400,000, 500,000 in sales. And, since then, through launching email, we've more than doubled their business in a period of about 6 months, and it continues to grow. We actually had to pause emailing because she was selling out too quick. Is a phenomenon that happens when you get to a certain point of emails, of new email subscribers. All of a sudden you sell out really quick. Mm-hmm. And then you got to send like out of stock emails and things like that. But that was a prime example of a person who started her own business, started her own products, tried building it, got to a plateau, couldn't figure out how to make more profit. We came in and said, hey, like, let's do some emails. You're really not doing anything. The biggest complaint most e-commerce stores make is they wish they would have done email earlier. Right? Like I hear that all the time. So we're like, hey, like let's build out a system. Let's start sending campaigns. Let's start collecting emails. We think like you've got a great brand. We think you're gonna have a great following. Let's get people from social media on your email list. Let's get people from other channels on your email list. Let's see what we can do. Well, that exact process I described, where not only are they making more revenue, they're starting to make more profit. Those profits can be reinvested on the front end, and it just became a snowball effect where they started. I think in the testimonial, she said they quadrupled in size.
Amazing.
Pretty quick. And that's a pretty common story when you start implementing email. It's not, Amazing. That's not unknown.
Before I forget to ask this question, I'm wondering, would you encourage somebody to buy an email list, or should it be totally like driven by ads or organic?
It should be ads or organic. Okay. The days of buying email lists is far gone. Maybe 15 years ago you could.
Wow. 15 years ago.
Yeah. It just doesn't work. And it messes up your sender reputation. Most of the emails are crap. You got to pay to verify them, and it just doesn't work, Sure.
Okay. No, I mean, that makes sense. So what, if I'm a company that should come to Worth eCommerce, or should consider coming to Worth eCommerce, what's the question I should ask myself to self-select or to validate whether or not it would be a good idea for me to reach out to you and your team?
Yeah. How much traffic are you driving? Right. And is it 10,000 visitors a month at least? If so, then like typically we should be collecting emails now, and we can do it fast. The other is, do you see, like, I guess depending on where you are in revenue, do you see growth happening? Right? Like, where do you want to actually go in your business? Do you want it to be a little thing where it's just you and you're running it? We can help with that. Do you want it to grow faster? We have different plans depending on sort of your lifestyle goals. Because we know how powerful email is. And once you start getting it live, it starts to move pretty quick. The other thing that I would add is companies that perform really well with email, they have to have content, right? They have to have either blogs or videos or any sort of good information that we can actually send out. If they don't have any content, they don't have any branding, it's really tough. And I think that's tough for any e-commerce store that doesn't have any branding to succeed, sure, to be honest. So you got to have some basics in place. You want to have your other foundations in place and traffic. Otherwise, email just sits there and does nothing.
I think that makes a ton of sense. Make sure you're optimized. I can't count the amount of people who are looking for traffic when they should be focused on conversion. Yeah. If you're worried about that at all and you're listening to this, reach out to us or reach out to Dean and his team. How can everybody find you and the Worth eCommerce team? Where should I send everyone? Yeah, they can find me on LinkedIn. It's just Dean Dutro, or they can go to worthecommerce.com. We've got a free webinar up, and we can hop on a strategy call with you to figure out if something makes sense. I also have a course. It's called emailgrowthtraining.com. If you're interested, let me know. We actually use it to train our own team, so it's very powerful. But those are the three core places you can find us. Awesome. Go to worthecommerce.com or emailgrowthtraining.com and go find Dean and his team. Mr. Dean, thank you so much for coming on the show. Yeah, appreciate it, Eric. To finish today's podcast, I want to share some final thoughts. For third-party sellers to be successful on Amazon, you've got to get reviews. We at BuyBox Experts are really big fans of the team over at eCommerce and its tools that help Amazon sellers simplify the process of soliciting reviews from customers who purchase their products. For more information, go to ecomengine.com. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for listening to the BuyBox Experts podcast. Be sure to click subscribe, check us out on the web, and we'll see you next time.